Howdy there, superstars. My name is Aaron. This shit ain't nothing to me, man. And you're listening to Superpod Saga! But yeah, hello, listeners. Hello, superstars. Hi, yeah, my name is Aaron. Of course, I'm your wonderful, charismatic host. Available to rent or own on VHS and DVD, all that stuff. Yeah, the Super Pod Saga, the show you're listening to right now. It's the for any first time listeners, the podcast where we discuss a different video game topic each week with different guests. This week we're talking about abandoned video game mechanics. Yeah, just I guess as it sounds, different video game mechanics that have come and gone throughout the years, either from something back in like the 80s or 90s or maybe like the early 2000s also, because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about from the early 2000s that like they did and then they were just like nope, wash their hands of it. But before we get to that, let's introduce the guests. Returning once again for I forget how many episodes it's been, but it's been quite a few. Hello, Matt Storm. Hello.
Hello, I'm happy to be back. I think this is my fourth. So Jeff and I guested together once. I guested once when Tommy was still on the show, and then I did a third one. Oh, with Jerry of Super Ghost.
Oh yeah.
We did the Who You Want to Have a Drink With. So it was Who You Want to Have a Drink With. Let's see if I can pull all the titles. Favorite multiplayer games, and what the hell was the one Jeff and I were on together?
I've got it pulled up right now if you want me to tell you.
Yeah, what was it?
Games that were worth the wait.
Oh, games that were worth the wait. That's right. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Well, so 2 out of 3. Look, I have all the side quest episodes still in my head. So like, I just like I can't remember them by number, but I can remember what everyone has done an episode on. Like Eric, spoiler alert, is also joining us. Did one on Kingdom Hearts 2, and then you,
Shocking.
Aaron, have done one on SteamWorld Heist, and you have an upcoming one that will remain a mystery.
Yeah, it's coming pretty soon too, because I think you
Yes.
just did 303 today or yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, making his grand debut on Super Pod Saga. It's been a long time coming. It's Eric from the Unlockables. Hello, sir.
What is up, guys? Aaron, it's so awesome to finally be on the Super Pod Saga with you. We tried to do this, as you mentioned, a couple of times, and I've just kind of been a pain in the ass about the scheduling. And of course, my son was recently born, so that kind of also threw a wrench into things as well. But I'm finally here. I'm ready to talk. And Aaron has been on my show before. I interviewed him probably 40-ish episodes ago now. He was one of the last interviews I did before I kind of went on some solo stuff and kind of started what I'm now better known for is my gigantic Kingdom Hearts playthrough series that I've been going through for the last couple years.
Nice, man. Is your show still on like hiatus or ending or whatever, or is it still going?
No, I thought that with a new kid coming that I was gonna put it on kind of indefinite hiatus and kind of finish it out when I finish my Kingdom Hearts series, because that just kind of felt poetic to me, and I didn't know, being a first time dad coming back, what my capacity to do the show would be, or kind of play games or do any of that stuff. But as he was born, I kind of was working on stuff. I was like, oh, I can kind of make this work in a smart kind of balanced way. So I've been putting out stuff just kind of when I can put it out, not holding myself to a schedule and being like, hey, when I get done with this, it is what it is. So every once in a while, there'll be a surprise Unlockables drop, just kind of on whatever I feel like writing or talking about.
Right on.
Amazing. Yeah, I love Unlockables. I'm also a Kingdom Hearts sicko as well. Like, I loved the third game. You know, it wasn't perfect, but I loved the whole series. I loved the third game. I've been wanting to replay them. The PlayStation 4 like package of like all the games together has been on my wish list for ages, but I haven't picked it up. But I will say also, I really loved your coverage that you did with Rick on Final Fantasy IX, that miniseries that you guys did. Huge fan of that. Like, I love Final Fantasy IX. I finally finished it only a few years ago, and it became my favorite Final Fantasy. It supplanted 7 only just barely. And that miniseries, like when you guys were talking about the emotional moments, like I'm sitting at work trying to quietly cry while working. Like, it was well done. So, Rick, of course, we know runs a great ship, but you were a huge part of that, Eric, and I really dug it.
Well, I really appreciate that. And Rick was the beating heartbeat of that. And shout out to Rick and Pixel Project Radio. Another great show you should go listen to. It was an honor to be on that with him.
Yeah, Rick's awesome. We shout him out quite a bit on this show. He uh he still has yet to make his grand debut on here too, but he's very busy. I understand it. It's really busy. Well, Matt, go ahead and for the listeners, if they haven't heard you before, intro your show and talk about yourself, any games you like, or maybe your favorites, your favorite dipping sauce, your favorite like anything dipping sauce.
Okay. So I'm Matt, aka Storm again. I also go by Matt Storm, which is my actual legal name. Yes, my Storm is my actual last name.
Nice.
I host several podcasts. The one that might be most relevant to your listeners is Fun and Games, which is a general topic podcast, not unlike this, where we either do retrospectives or we interview developers or composers or we talk about certain genres. We recently did an episode about signposting of video games centered around the release of Dragon's Dogma 2, but talking about how games of all genres will signpost or not signpost what you need to do in the game and what are the like best ways that it's done, the worst ways it's done as well, which was a really fun chat. And then the sub series in that feed is Side Quests, which we mentioned a little bit earlier, which is a different host coming on every episode and talking about a game they love and why they love it. And we have returning hosts. We have lists. My favorite episodes, like I love everybody who does it, but when I have a listener send me a voice memo from their iPhone that I get to edit and put out to the world and like share how much they love a game and like they don't even have anything to promote, they're just a person. Like recently, Soccer, who is in a ton of our Discords, who's just a delightful human and a podcast fan, did an episode on Jotun, I think it's pronounced, the Viking game that came out a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
And it was incredible. And I love that. I love when folks who just love a game and want to talk about it with nothing else to promote, just want to do a thing, come on. And that's a lot of fun. We've had a lot more of those lately. And then I do a BioWare retrospective podcast. Also, as of when we're recording this, we just finished Dragon Age Origins. We did the whole Mass Effect trilogy and then Andromeda, talking about like our choices and trying to put ourselves in the place of the character. And we're about to move on to Dragon Age 2, which is controversially my favorite in the franchise. A lot of folks like to hate on Dragon Age 2 because it was linear, repetitive dungeons, but I think it has some of the best storytelling in the series. And yeah, that's kind of what's current. I have a show on hiatus that's about TV and movies called Screen Snark. That's really great and still has an awesome backlog. And then I also happen to, if that wasn't enough, edit for the Game Informer show, which is pretty neat since I've been reading that since I was like in high school. Let's see, 91. Yeah, since I was in high school, and now I'm editing their flagship podcast, which is pretty neat. And then favorite dipping sauce. So this is tough for a lot of reasons, because I know you don't ask the simple questions.
Sorry.
I have a lot of dietary restrictions now. As a kid, I ate whatever the hell I
Yeah,
wanted, but as an adult, like I'm gluten free. I can't have a lot of dairy, like all this different stuff. But like, let's say, unabashed, like I could have whatever I want, no restrictions. I think it's either duck sauce, most commonly with Chinese food, or just straight up barbecue sauce. Not that honey barbecue nonsense, like mesquite, regular barbecue sauce. Those are my favorite. Yeah, I think those are my two favorite dipping sauces if I had to pick.
Nice. I love all those answers. Yep. I still don't know how you do all that you do.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Sometimes I'll edit an episode, get it out, and they'll be like, "Well, I'm done with the internet for the rest of this week," and,
Right.
Yeah.
and then I'll move on to say Unicorn Overlord, which is amazing, by the way. Everybody go play that. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, Eric, Mr. Man, go ahead and introduce yourself and your show, and yeah, your favorite dipping sauce as well too. Feel free to like
I
mix sauces too if you want to, because I sure am. Once it's my turn.
Right. I was spent 95% of the time like thinking, like panicking about my favorite dipping sauce, and 5% of the time thinking about what I was going to say about my show. So here we go. Yeah, my name is Eric Gess. Also, Gess is my actual last middle name. So all the jokes fly. Please just comment your favorite one. I've heard all of them. If you can come up with one that I haven't heard, I would be really impressed. But I host the show called The Unlockables, which I bill as the story of video games, the people who play them, and the memories made along the way. And I started off kind of interviewing different content creators about the video game podcasts they made and just why they love games so much. We just kind of came on and talked about their favorite games. And recently when my life got a little bit more busy, I kind of took a more solo approach and just kind of started exploring a little bit more scripted stuff and writing some stuff. And and it's when I started my big Kingdom Hearts series that I'm still in the middle of. That's been is now at 19 episodes and almost 32 hours of content about that entire series. So yeah, it's very exhaustive, and I may have lost just a twinge of my sanity doing it. But I think now the best way I can describe my show, and I think Josh Cole from Still Loading described it my favorite way. He says I try to get at the emotional core of what video games try to tell us as kind of like an art form, as a storytelling form. Really kind of try and take that angle with it, because there's so much discourse in the video game industry about console wars, and this I like this game and you don't like my game, you're stupid. And I just kind of try to talk about the games that I love, and just put out there what I think they mean and what they meant to me, and maybe just spark a different conversation from that angle. So that's kind of what I've been doing, and it's been great, and it's been really rewarding so far to meet incredible people such as yourselves. Dipping sauce, I don't know, man.
If you have at least 3, you can do 3 if you want.
I think it narrows down to 2. So if my wife was on the show, she's the sauce queen. She would have several sauces picked out for you. My fridge is constantly filled with all the sauces that she has. Too much variety for my palate. I either probably have to go with we have Chick-fil-A sauce in the house, which is pretty
Pretty
good.
Yeah,
I also my secondary, I have to agree with Matt. Just regular, like straight up barbecue, can't go wrong. Been a favorite of mine for a long time. And I don't know if this counts as a dipping sauce, but I'm a really strong ketchup guy. Like with fries,
classic.
Yeah,
chicken
dude.
nuggets, all that stuff. I love ketchup. Except if I'm used to live in Chicago for 5 years, so if you try to put ketchup on your hot dog, I will shun you.
You'll get
No,
physical.
it should be spicy mustard. That's the only acceptable
Yes,
thing you
and-
put on a hot dog.
Yeah,
period.
and some relish, and we just load it up with everything in
There
Chicago
you go.
except ketchup is not allowed.
If it,
Don't ask me why. I don't know. You will be judged very harshly.
if it even comes near that hot dog, you're gonna immediately equip your fists. Get ready to fight. motherfucker.
Somebody will pop out of the nearest manhole sewer and just smack it out of your hand.
All right, no, my favorite thing for whenever I have like chicken or like anything else, I like to mix barbecue and honey mustard. Like that just hits real different, man. It's so good.
Honey mustard's not real mustard. Sorry,
But
it's just
But it's so good.
Yeah,
beef.
yeah. No, I mean I don't like Dijon mustard either. I prefer spicy brown mustard. That's just like a classic. Can't beat it. But mixing sounds interesting. I don't know that I would have picked those two to mix. And I feel like if you're mixing honey mustard and barbecue sauce, you're kind of leaning towards the more like froofy barbecue sauces out there too.
Mhm.
It's like approaching that flavor profile. But look, you do you, as
That's
long as you
true.
enjoy it.
That's true. Sriracha and honey mustard is also really good. That's a great one as well too. But video games, yeah, we're talking about abandoned video game mechanics.
Right, that thing.
We'll get to all that in a little bit. We're gonna do the Discord Q&A here in just a sec. We'll take a real quick break, listen to some tunes. We'll be right back. And we're back. Yeah, this segment of the show, Discord Q&A, I asked my Discord server a question related to the topic. They answer that question, and then we read the answers, and that's the segment. I asked, what are some abandoned game mechanics that you're glad they're... what are some abandoned game mechanics that you're gone... Oh my gosh. What are some abandoned game mechanics that you're glad are gone or that you miss? To which... the Cthusiast Jeff, he immediately came in and says, mechanics I miss is the auto skip for battles and RPGs. If your level is much higher than the enemy, I'm referring to Earthbound. Yes! Every turn-based RPG should have that. I don't know why other ones didn't. Thank you, Earthbound.
It's actually not expired. It came back very recently in the second of the Like a Dragon RPGs, the newest one, Infinite
way.
Wealth. When you're a high enough level, as the battle starts, you can hit, I think, the right trigger, and then you'll just like Ichiban will swing his bat a couple times, they'll fall over, and then you move on. So
Okay.
yeah,
I want to say too, and I've been playing Persona 5 royally recently, and I think when you're in
yes,
Mementos too, if you're at just high enough level and you run into him with your Catmobile, it'll just kill him.
yeah, you
So
just clobber
so
him.
that
Yeah,
yeah, I've
Oh
seen it
yeah, that's
recently,
right.
but yeah,
but it's not
Earthbound
common.
was
Yeah,
no Earthbound was a great early example of that.
That is cool. Who's got the next one from Dave?
I'll do that one. Dave from the incredible N64 podcast, Remember 64, which Aaron recently was on a Wave Race episode, which was great because more people need to talk about how great Wave Race 64 is. Like,
Agreed.
I get so many weird looks, but like, I'm so happy that I think it was the Retro Hangover guys covered it, and you guys covered it, and like, it's such a good racing game, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's jet skis, it's dumb." It's like it's not. It's
not,
actually
yeah.
one of the best games on the N64, which is just,
Thank you, Matt.
oh,
Yeah.
I agree.
Always count on you.
I played
Yeah,
it for the first time, side tangent, for this or last year. I played it for the first time in 2023, year of our Lord, and I was blown away by it.
yeah, it's
You're
brilliant.
far
It's a brilliant racing game. But anyway, Dave has to say it works for some older games, but only being able to save at a particular save point, sometimes hours apart, is kind of poop.
Agreed.
And I do agree. I think like I know why Resident Evil did it in the older games, and it makes sense. But I think having an autosave now, especially survival horror, especially since I'm bad at them, is super useful. Like, yeah, the classic RPG thing too. Like, I can picture the Final Fantasy VII save point, right? The little like weird C-shaped thing. Like, I get why games did that, but I'm glad that now most games have autosave or specific save points, or you can save anywhere on the map, because they are kind of poop, as Dave has said.
I think my favorite save point ever, and this is kind of biased because I just really fucking love Final Fantasy IX, but I miss the
Yeah.
Moogles as the save points of the whoop, woodly woo, and then you click save, and he's like,
They're perfect.
woo, 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 and then yeah,
They
it's
are
beautiful.
perfect, but I will admit that when I played it for the first time I had played it on the PlayStation but never finished it. But when I finished it for the first time on the Switch, by the end of the game, the animation was just a little too long.
Yeah.
Like, if they had sped it up, it'd be perfect. But because it's like, you go open the book, throw the book down, fly down, like it took a little too long every time. But it is one of the best save things in any video game, because those Moogles are some of the best Moogles in Final Fantasy.
Agreed.
Um,
On the if I could offer an example on the flip side of that, one of the most egregious examples I think of like that early saving system where it's kind of annoying is Crash Bandicoot.
Oh,
Where I don't know if you remember the original Crash Bandicoot, where you used to have to find like all of his like girlfriend tokens in the level, and then you used to have to do the mini level, and then you'd be able to save.
oh my god.
And so
Yeah.
if you didn't find the tokens, and you could go like several levels without finding tokens. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was a very questionable decision in that early Crash game.
With with Matt and the I'm playing it all in my head. So the Moogle hops up and Matt's just like, come on, please. And then like with every second that counts down, with like that Moogle like flying down toward the book, you're like, please, oh my god. It's like yeah, oh my gosh. Eric's got the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one here from Bill with the GNC Podcast Network. Shout out to Bill. Bunch of great shows that he does. He says, I'm really glad that the concept of lives in games, particularly platformers, is starting to be phased out. It really lowers the frustration level with a more challenging game.
Yep. It's why I will never feel bad about using save states on an old game. Like, I recently replayed Super Mario Land, which is a classic and actually really holds up, but it only holds up because I don't have to worry about lives, because I just save state the shit out of it, because I can't. Like Donkey Kong Country, also one of my all-time favorites, but I think I only still like it because I can save state, and like I don't have to worry about running out of lives. Because running out of lives is it. I think the newest Crash Bandicoot did it best. The real fourth game in the series had two modes. It had a hardcore mode where you had lives, and like you could run out of lives, get a game over, and then it had a mode where you had no lives, and in fact you had a death counter. And I think on one of the last levels in that game, I had like over 100 deaths before finishing the game, because Crash is notoriously hard. But that's so much better, right? Like, flip it, make it a death counter instead, and you could like Celeste also sort of has that, where you can like see how many times you've failed or lost on a stage. Like, I think that's so much better than wasting our time with lives.
Agreed.
Yeah, and like Celeste, Super Meat Boy did it really, really well too. Because like, when you get to the end of a stage, you can see like all the little U's running around the stage. dying at different points, and it's so
Yeah.
cool. There was another example I had in my head. Oh, what was it? I forget. Let's move on. Holy cow. Firebird01952, Andrew, he says, a mechanic that is dying, but I want to stay longer is loot boxes. Everything is a battle pass. I want my loot boxes. Agree.
Hmm.
It's controversial, but I agree. Like, Overwatch was way better when it had loot boxes and not fucking battle passes all the time. Like, it's gambling, sure, but one, it's free, and then two, you actually had a decent chance of getting something cool for free.
Yeah, I would agree that I think loot boxes in the way that Overwatch 1 specifically did it, I liked, you know, but it does get exploity after a while, like the way the most recent Battlefront did their loot boxes was really weird. And like,
Yep.
I think also no one's going to do a battle pass as good as Fortnite does just because Fortnite has kind of perfected it, and I am not a
Yeah.
Fortnite hater. I have actually really enjoyed my time playing it, but it's like you buy the battle pass and then every so often you unlock a thing and then there are other bonus quests you can do to unlock other things. Like I think they do it really well, and everyone else since who's tried to do a battle pass, it just kind of falls flat. I mean, most famously very recently with the Suicide Squad game, which was a live service game that was kind of doomed from the beginning
Yep.
and is a bummer because I love that studio. But yeah, I agree that loot boxes can be really great. I think the problem is that then companies like EA and Activision were like, well, what if we made them worse and then you had to pay more money?
And I think like
Yeah.
games like Fortnite do it. They take it like an extra step further too, because like I think in Fortnite you can kind of make back some of the make back some of the premium currency you used to buy that battle pass in the first place,
Yep.
and put that toward the next one or something like that. Is that right? Am I
Yeah, you
okay?
can never get your full amount, but I think you can get like a third or half depending on what you choose. Because, like, I think 2 of the 8 rewards at each level of the battle pass are just V-Bucks, and
Yeah.
you could just get them back. And yeah, no, it's they want you to spend money, but it's not. I don't think it's as exploitative as a lot of the other ones are.
I think another modern example of a well done battle pass too is Halo Infinite, because my
Yeah,
understanding too is that once you like buy or purchase the battle pass, it doesn't go away with the season. You always have access to it, and you can come back and
That's
unlock the
cool.
stuff on it like at any time. So like they don't take it
yeah,
away from you. So if like 5 seasons, you're like, oh, I want to unlock the stuff from season 2, you can get it and work on it. So I think that's a cool way. But yeah, I would say nothing. I played Overwatch in its heyday during that like loot box era, and they always gave you enough currency or like enough level ups or enough like objectives to do where you were getting loot boxes like every couple of matches.
Yeah.
And yeah, you didn't have to spend the money. Like if you just played it a little bit of time, you could get like the event skins or that kind of stuff that was going on. So yeah, it's definitely become a little bit more predatory as it's become just some more accepted practice. That's for sure.
And, shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, because I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh! Sicko.
Yeah.
yeah,
Master Duel has a duel pass that is actually really fucking cool, because it costs like a really meager amount of gems that you can make back on the duel pass, and also they give out gems for free all the goddamn time for like everything. So hey, no, I almost said Bandai Namco. Konami kind of is doing something right, but also not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say also really quick, MTG Arena gives you a lot of free boosters, and I'm a Magic the Gathering sicko. It's like you go one way or the other, right? It's a fork in every road for every nerd. It's either Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic, and I went the Magic route. Though a lot of respect to Yu-Gi-Oh, I know a lot of folks who love it. But they
yep.
also give you like free boosters and whatever the currency is and stuff too. They make it really
Yeah.
accessible. Um, all right, I guess we can move on to Jake from Game Corp. It's all in caps, so I felt I needed some drama.
It's beautiful. I
Uh,
love it.
Thank you. Dedicated save stations with no quick save ability and saves as consumable are truly the worst. I forgot about saves as like consumable items. I sort of mentioned it before with Resident Evil, the typewriter. A game that doesn't either save consistently or let me save when I want is a game I'll never go back to. So similar to what Dave was saying. Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
for me, one of my favorite games that has one of the worst save systems is Mass Effect, the original. Thankfully, the Legendary Edition versions are better, but the auto save was so bad in the first game that like I would sometimes forget and lose hours of progress because I hadn't just manually saved. And the auto save saves like when you enter a planet or when you like go to a city for the first time and you're there for hours. Yeah, I like a good autosave. If you have an autosave that only happens like at certain, like, didn't autosave, if I remember correctly, like for a lot of like Xbox 360 era stuff, was like when you entered an area it would save, and then whatever you did in that open area, if you didn't manually save, you could like lose all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in one of the most like recent or not recent, but like first examples I could remember of that stuff was like playing Skyrim. And I think
Yeah.
Skyrim, it was like anytime you like went into a building or like a cave or something, yeah, that's when it would auto save. But
Oh,
yeah,
Oblivion too.
yeah,
That's
if
the
Yeah.
you
same
spent
thing.
like
Mhm.
4 hours walking around in that cave and like didn't like change locations or something, and you would just die and be like auto checkpointed at the start of that cave and have to go through it all over again.
Yeah, it's a Fallout problem too. Fallout
Yep.
Vegas, Fallout New
Oh
Vegas,
yeah.
one of my favorite Fallout games. If you're wandering the wasteland for hours just to like find loot or like find side quests or level up, and then you haven't gone to a town for a while and you die, you lose like
That
tons of
death claw just
progress.
sneaks up behind you.
Yeah, every
Yep.
time.
Man, leave it to like remasters and remakes to get that shit right. Because like
Oh
one of
yeah.
my favorite games, I guess, and then in the Shin Megami Tensei series, Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey, the original version on
Mhm.
the DS is so fucking like unfair, like difficulty wise. And then when you're in like dungeons and shit, you cannot manual save. You have to hope and pray you come across like a little save pod. But then they remade it for the 3DS, and they were like, "Hey, you can save anywhere."
Thank
And
God.
it's like, yes, yes. Um, I think. Oh, yeah. It's Eric's turn. My bad.
Oh,
My
yes.
bad.
So next up, yeah, we just had Jake. Next up, we have beloved community member Thrak in several of our discords. Also has a great show. Default
Mhm.
inverted camera controls, fine for flying games, but not anything else.
Yes. God damn
Yep.
it.
Agreed. I would argue that I don't even like them for flying games. I know that's kind of, I want uninverted in my Star Fox 64. Although it does always still take me a minute to get used to
Yeah.
because I think our brains just the way they're wired. But yeah, anytime a camera is inverted for no reason in like a third person game, I'm like, why?
Yeah, that's
Why would you
weird.
do this to me? It just,
Mhm.
I don't, who are you? Who are these inverted camera control people? And we should know who they are because they're weird.
They need to be barred from society. Like who plays a Fortnite? Who plays a Fortnite and like they're panicking and they're like running and shooting and panicking and then they're like, I need to aim up. Better push the stick down or some stupid shit. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I have to give some mad props to the inverted players because in the heyday growing up with like Halo and when I was in college, we played a lot of like Cross Storm Halo 3. There were some just insane people that played on inverted and they
Yeah.
were just ridiculously good at the game. So, hey, I
Hmm.
got to give you mad props. If you're willing to commit to that and get good at like that, I mean, you're on another level.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Adam, Revival and Extinction. He says tank controls, not being able to save anywhere, and limited lives. Yeah, and limited lives as others have mentioned above. Yes, tank. Well,
Uh,
hmm. Tank.
so yeah,
Kind of torn
uh,
on that a little bit.
yeah. So like tank controls in the original Resident Evil 4, which I loved. I thought like the planting and shooting tank controls because you
Yeah.
can kind of move pretty freely otherwise. I didn't mind. However, when I played the remake, which was incredible, I liked that it was standard controls and it wasn't tank controls. But like I can't in Signalis you start I think with tank controls and then you can change it. And I had to change it like immediately. Like I don't know. I couldn't do tank controls there. I know it adds to like the survival horror
Yeah.
experience, which I get. I totally understand. Like the panic, it makes it feel more real. But I am already a bad shot without any other hindrance. I don't need the tank controls to make it worse.
That's true. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I'm glad that like that most games nowadays at least have the option to switch to tank
Mhm.
controls if you want, and yeah, yeah. But yeah, fuck limited lives though for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I can never say that's bad enough times.
I don't think I ever. I hate. I understand tank controls is like a conscious design choice. Like I recently played the first Resident Evil last year, and yeah, I can understand how that would make it more scary in times of panic. I guess I guess growing up, I just didn't have enough exposure to like games with tank controls in them to like really form like a opinion one way or the other. Like I played a lot of
Yeah.
platformers and Mario and Pokemon growing up, so I missed a lot of the tanky control stuff. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I'm it sounds like most people are glad that we're mostly past them.
Yeah, I think as an option, it makes total sense. I just, as a default, I less like the inverted control people.
Oh
We
yeah.
see you out there. Up next is Jameson from Bar Silence, another incredible podcast.
Yeah.
Cheat codes or reward of cheats
Oh,
after beating the
man.
game as incentives to keep playing. Boy, howdy, do I miss
God,
this
I miss
so
that.
much. So to
This
share
was an
something
era.
to share something infuriating that I'd forgotten about because we're so far from that era, even though I grew up in it. So I played I've loved Remedy since I played Control for the first time, which was only a year or so after it came out. And then I went back and played Alan Wake. I've since played Alan Wake 2, of course, when it came out. But I never played their other games. So I'm slowly
No
making my
Quantum
way
Break?
through the back. And so I picked up Quantum Break. I haven't played it yet. And I legally acquired the Max Payne games on my Steam Deck. And so I, for legal reasons, I legally acquired them. And so I was playing the first Max Payne, and I love that game. I think it's incredible. I think it's cheesy. I really love it. But there are these platforming sections where you're like walking along like a blood trail and trying not to fall off it into the abyss. It's like a hallucination. And I kept dying on it over and over again. And there are no checkpoints. You have to get through this long, bad thing. And I was so mad. And then I realized, I think the stage before the end of the game, that this game had cheat codes. It was an old Rockstar game. They all had cheat codes, and you could turn on no deaths, or infinite health or infinite ammo or whatever else. And I was like, I only learned this now, and of course it doesn't affect anything. You still get the same ending. Like they were cheats in the same way that the Jameson's talking about here, and like, I was so mad at myself because I went most of the game without using the cheats, and I was like, "Oh, I could have used these." But I recently replayed GoldenEye 64. I didn't finish it, but like that also, big head mode, DK mode, all that stuff. Like I love those kinds of cheats that just add to the experience. They're the best.
Ooh, or the cheats that unlock secret characters, like not necessarily like unlock all cheats, but like characters that are hidden behind a cheat code. Like those were really, really cool back in the day. Like the Tony Hawk games had some of the
I was just
best
thinking of those.
Oh,
had some of the
Yeah,
yeah.
best
Spider-Man,
unlockables.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Fucking
Oh,
Shrek, just cuz.
Yeah, Shrek.
the best.
Somebody
That really was man, that's not the loss of cheat codes. That's the death of an entire era,
Yeah.
because when I moved out of my house for the first time 5 or 6 years ago, I was cleaning out my stuff and going through like a bin of my old like game stuff downstairs. I found like the old notebook that I used to have, that I used to like go on the internet and write the cheat codes in for the video games, like a little flip notebook that I had. You go to I always like supercheats.com and go through and write
Yeah.
everything on there. And one of the games I remember most prolifically for that was a game called Mercenaries Playground of Destruction,
Yes.
where I would just unlock all the vehicles and like get infinite money. So you just call in like all the airstrikes and just cause mayhem and pandemonium. And really, I was doing some research on that this afternoon, because that was one of the ones that I thought of. And we've really lost cheat codes as a result of like the forced inclusion of like achievements and trophies in video
Yep.
games,
Yep.
because cheat codes essentially break that premise of like, oh, I can get the platinum trophy. Well, that's really easy if you just are invincible, have God mode, and can basically break the game. So I mean, I get it. I don't fault achievements or trophies or anything. I know people love that and whatever, but yeah, we lost something to have achievements and trophies.
Yeah, I think that, so actually there's a current game that I'm playing that bucks right against that, which is Another Crab's Treasure, which has been delightful. And it has a wonderful accessibility menu for first-time Souls-like players, or people who can't handle the difficulty or just need accessibility options. And they have a bunch of the standard stuff like increase the parry window, increase the dodge invincibility frames, take less damage, do more damage, enemies have less health. And then they have the best cheat of all, the best accessibility option of all, which is give Krill, the main character, a gun. And what it does is create a shell that's just a handgun. And when you equip it, it one-shots any enemy, bosses, non-bosses. And so, first of all, it's brilliant because they were toying. It was like the Tears of the Kingdom, like Rising thing was a dev tool, and then they gave it to you. This is the same thing. Like they created the gun as a gag. It was a dev tool, allow them to one-shot bosses, and they're like, well, why don't we just let people use it if they want? And so I wanted to try it, and so I used it on a boss and still got the achievement on Steam. And I was like, this is how you do it.
That's awesome.
I killed the boss with this gun, and they didn't penalize me. I still did the thing. it's who are you to judge? You gave me the gun. I used the
Right.
gun. And I love that. I think that the biggest thing I hate about the loss of cheats also is, like we do the trophies and you penalize people using these cheats to get the trophies, but like, that's what they're there for. It's
Yeah.
another way to play the game. It's like the people used to get mad at me when I played Elden Ring because I found that like there's a giant Kamehameha blast essentially that you can get as a mage. I think it was mage. That if you like find a teleporter, you can kind of like circumvent some stuff and get it really early and defeat some bosses really easily. And people are like, oh, you're cheating. I'm like, it's in the game.
Yeah,
Right.
And the teleporter is in a chest in the game. Like I didn't hack anything. It's in the game.
It's
This
in
is
the
not
game.
cheating.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely not
Yeah.
cheating. Yeah, we'll back you up. We gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, looks like is this the last one? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Judge Bread
Rest in peace.
writes, right. Judge Bread writes in, MVP Baseball 2005 had an anger meter where you would argue with an umpire. Depending on the call you were arguing and your level of anger, it could pump up your team or embarrass them. It's never been in any other baseball game as far as I know.
God
That's
damn it.
amazing.
God
I
damn
love
it, Tommy.
I would love to see more stuff like that in sports games. I remember when I used to still play NBA 2K, and it was when the Xbox One had been out, and the Kinect was bundled with it. And I remember I had the Kinect plug in. I remember I was playing a game and I messed up and I was like, oh fuck, or something like that. And the Kinect heard it and they called a technical foul on me in the game because the Kinect heard it. So
What?
yeah,
Amazing.
I just think like funny
ridiculous.
stuff. So I think anger meter in baseball, they should bring that back. MLB The Show, if you're listening, yeah, like let's go. Like maybe your guy gets so mad that you don't have control that he charges the mound. I don't know.
I love the concept of charging the mound. Like you just get so pissed off at the pitcher. You're like, you know what? Fuck you, and you just charge him and just annihilate the. Oh man, baseball is so cool.
I think you can kind of expand that concept too into like, I know some horror games before have done like insanity meters and stuff like that. So
I was just gonna bring that up. Yeah.
Oh well, I can let you take it away, Matt, if you want to.
No, but Last Requiem. What was
Eternal Darkness.
Eternal Darkness. Last Requiem for the GameCube. One of the best horror games ever made. Admittedly, I don't have a ton. I'm only now getting really into survival horror games, but I loved that game, and it had insanity meter where, as it went up, different things would happen, and literally the things were to mess with the player, not the game. Like the old analog TVs would have these like volume bars, these green volume bars, and so like the volume would start to go down, and you'd be like, "What the hell?" Or like you would walk into a bathroom and you'd see your character dead and decapitated in the bathtub, and then a scream would happen, and then it would flash back to normal. Or like old TVs also had like input channels. We still have that for like HD stuff, and like the input would change, and it would go to like a snowy like unhooked up TV. You'd hear monsters coming. You'd be like, "What the hell?" Or like it would say controller disconnected, and you wouldn't be able to move. Things like that. It was the best. And like as your insanity meter went up, like they got worse. I loved it. I thought it was one of the coolest things.
My favorite one that game does is like it'll act like it'll act like the game. Like the GameCube itself reset, and then when you go to try to like reload your save, it'll be like, I forget if it's either corrupted or it's just not there.
Corrupt.
Yeah,
it's corrupt
try to
data.
load your save, and it's corrupted. Like, oh
my gosh, it like literally restarts the game as if you like hit the reset button. Yeah, it's they messed with you so much. It was the best.
Make that
That's
again.
What's that visual novel where it like looks like it deletes like your files or whatever, like the horror one.
Doki
Doki Literature Club.
Doki Literature Club. Yeah.
Damn, that stuff is so cool.
Love that.
Well, that's it for that Discord Q&A. Thanks to everybody who wrote in. Listeners, if you want to get your answers run on the show, and you want to hear me fuck up reading like 8,000 times in the row, please join the Discord server. Yeah, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll go on with our picks of the abandoned game mechanics. Yeah. And we're back. The first one that I have that I'm very, very glad is gone is having to write down like passwords instead of saving, like back on like the
Yeah.
NES and like early Sega Genesis and SNES days. Fuck that. that was so terrible. Like Metroid in particular on the NES, probably one of the most like archaic and hard to play games ever. You can't save. You have to write down this jumbled mess of like letters and numbers to save the game, and that sucks. But I'm so glad it's gone.
Yeah, the one I remember from my childhood is Mega Man games had a password system.
Yeah.
I was just
too.
thinking Mega Man games. Yep.
Yeah, like Mega Man 2, I think had these like dots in a grid, and then I think it was either Mega Man 3 or 4 had like character faces that you had to remember, and like and this is before.
Oh, I think
so,
Mega Man X did that too.
so I think,
yeah,
and
Mega
for
Man X did do that.
all the people who are yelling at the podcast, like, "Oh, you just take a photo of it." We didn't have camera phones back
Yep.
then.
Yeah.
We didn't even have digital film back then. So like,
You had to get the old Kodak out, or write it down on pen and paper, which
Yeah.
I mean I know is hard to imagine now. Writing stuff down, what? Why do
Yeah.
that?
Mom's
You
like,
just
why are
take a
you wasting
picture."
our expensive film taking pictures of the TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
I gotta
will-
take it to Walmart to get developed. Wait 30 minutes in line. Oh my god, man.
a spin-off of this is like now whenever a game like shows a clue on the wall, like very explicitly, like you're gonna have to remember a pattern for later on, I never bother. I just take a screenshot or I take a photo with my phone. Like I can't be
Mhm.
bothered. I ain't writing this down. Get out of here. What do you take me for? It's like in the Persona games, like for all of Persona 5 Royal, which I finished last year, I had the classroom answers. I can't remember the name of the journalist who wrote did the guide for that, but like I shouted him out once I beat the game because I was like, thank you for all the classroom answers. I'm not in school anymore. I'm not trying to figure this shit out. I'm just gonna pull up a list of answers. Get out of here. I got shit to do.
Same. I'll be honest. I've done that too. So same. I'm right there with you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad the whole password nonsense is gone. Get out of here.
To take us in a different direction, talking about something that I do miss. It's in the vein of cheats, but I miss button pad inputs as cheat codes. So like the most famous one, the Konami code for up, down, left, right, BA, select start, or BA, select start. The Ninja Turtles game and Contra, loved the Konami code. And like every game that you did it in, it did something. You in Contra, you got either 30 lives or 99 lives. In the Turtles games, I think you got a level select or more lives. Like it always gave you something in every Konami game. And then Infernax, which came out a few years ago, which I loved, did a play on that where if you did the Konami code in Infernax, it turned the lead character in what was a essentially Castlevania 2 style game, like side-scrolling action game, into a Contra character. It was the same character like head, but he was wearing like had the Contra body with like the strapping chest and the gun, and you could just run around shooting. And
That's
there's a
cool.
whole separate set of cutscenes and gameplay for the Contra version of the game. It's amazing. It's the best secret.
I miss when you said the controller inputs as cheats, I immediately went to Grand Theft Auto, like
Yeah.
San Andreas. My brother and I played San Andreas a lot. We would always take turns, do basically just like seeing how long we could survive the police and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were like, no cheats, like no cheats. That's stupid. No. And yeah, one of us would eventually just break and be like, okay, I need a tank, or like I need infinite ammo or something. And I think I still have one of them. I forget which weapon cheat it is, but it's like L1 or R1 R2 L1 R2 left down right up left down down left, and
Yeah.
I forget exactly which one that was, but yeah, the shout out to Grand Theft Auto or old Grand Theft Auto. I think you can still do cheats in Grand Theft Auto 5, but it like messes everything up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I looked that up because I was thinking about that too. The cheats in Grand Theft Auto 5 are like numbers on the cell phone that you call. And so it's just a list of like cell phone numbers. So yeah, not as good as like
Whack.
the button inputs. And yeah, I think it does like mess up the game. And I'm sure that only works in the single player because that would just be chaos on the multiplayer side for sure.
Could you
Just anybody calling in tank? Although I'm sure anybody still
that'd be
playing that
so
game now,
cool.
10 years later, is just like has infinite money and is able
Right.
to do that anyways. So
Right. Yeah.
Could you
at what
imagine?
point, like,
My bad.
so that's what they should do on when they launch GTA 6, the last day of GTA 5. They should just unlock GTA Online, give everybody cheat codes, and just let everybody just go
Exactly.
ham.
Yeah,
That
that would
That'd
rule.
be
imagine
nuts.
like just imagine a game where like it's just free and open like Grand Theft Auto Online, but yeah, you can enter cheats, so it's just this constant like chaotic free for all of everybody against everybody with
Oh god.
whatever they had possible. That'd be so cool. Like everybody's got attack helicopters or tanks, and like everybody's got infinite ammo. Well, I guess everybody would also have like infinite health or something too. So that doesn't make any sense. Somebody go next.
Yeah, I'll take it. Similar vein to Matt here. I thought of one that I did miss. And this is a more recent one, but one that seems to be gone ever since the games it was in have come out. And I'm talking, of course, about the Nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. This was something that I really loved. I thought Shadow of Mordor was an amazing game. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Shadow of War I actually didn't finish just because I got so burnt out on that game and how much like there's just so much like AAA open world stuff put in it at that point where I was just like, I cannot physically do all this. I am tired. But the Nemesis system was this really cool way that the lead orcs of the area would interact with your character Talion, and it created these amazing emergent gameplay moments where it was like I remember like one time clearly, like you can help the orcs like betray each other, move up in power, and like take out certain orcs, and like you can brainwash some of them and like make them infiltrate like the army ranks, like all this like amazing stuff to like create your own emergent story. And I just remember like playing one time, and like I went to help an orc like over like in his duel to like overthrow another orc, and then like a guy I thought who was my buddy like showed up to betray me, and then like another guy showed up because he had like a death vendetta. He came back from the dead because he had like vengeance against me to like come and kill me. And then one of like my buddies like came to like try and save me. So like 8 different people showed up at like this one battle that like triggered all at the same
Oh my
time and
fucking
just
god.
created like this 45-minute like battle where like everybody was showing up. And I was just thinking like unfortunately that system is now patented by Warner Brothers, so
Yep,
nobody else can use it.
correct.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey tried to do something like mercenary system like similar to it, but it's definitely a watered down version. But I was just thinking
Sucks.
like how many amazing games that could be like applied to. Like I was just thinking off the top of my head, like a Batman game would be
I
super
was
cool, something like
literally
that.
just
Yeah,
thinking that.
Or like
I
a
was
yeah,
just
mafia, or
thinking
like some
that.
kind of
Yeah.
like mafia crime game, or something like that. I think it's
yeah.
a system that it has potential for like a lot of emergent story, a lot of emergent gameplay. And it's just a shame that Warner Bros. Would just be like, oh, we're going to keep this for ourselves. I mean, I understand, but Shadow of War was 2017,
Yeah.
like 7 years ago, and they haven't done anything with that technology since. So it's just kind of a bummer. So yeah, I just wanted to shout that out because I really enjoyed the Nemesis system, despite however people feel about those two games.
One of my favorite moments from that goddamn system. I've never finished the first game because of this exact reason. So there was one dude who I kept dying to over and over and over and
Yep.
over and over and over, and like eventually he just became immune to fucking everything I had. Like he was immune to what was it? He was immune to bow or to the bow. He was immune to
Yeah.
swords. He was immune to being stunned. You could not sneak up on him. Stealth did not work on him. He was just immune to fucking everything. So I was like, how am I supposed to get anywhere if this guy is constantly popping out of nowhere, out of every
Right.
goddamn nook and cranny in this world? Like, what am I supposed to do? And yeah, after like 4 deaths against him being impervious to everything, I gave up. I was like, this system is cool, but also fuck it.
I'm so glad to hear I'm not the only person who had this exact experience, because it's why I never finished the
Oh
first game
god.
either.
Yep.
Like one
That's
guy
fair.
became like unbeatable, and like I just was ramming my head into a wall trying to get past this part, and I was like, you know what, I give up. And I don't even remember if there are difficulty settings in that game, but I didn't even care to try. I was just like, I'm done. This is dumb. I hate
Yeah,
this.
it definitely would lead you to some of those roadblocks, and I think a little tweaking would be definitely be necessary. But yeah, I really liked it. Like I said, I'm a big fan of like emergent gameplay and like the
Yeah.
gameplay and the story that you tell through playing the game yourself. And that system just creates so many of those things. Like I remember in Shadow of War when you can set up your guys at like the little fortresses. Like one of my fortress leaders was like the bard orc who would like sing and recite poetry, and then another fortress leader was like the drunkest orc of like all of them. He was just like slurring his words, like not fit to lead at all. And I was just like, I'm gonna fight him all the way up the ranks to be like in charge of this area for me. So just stupid stuff like that. But I think with like some tweaks and stuff, there's a lot of like really awesome potential for different games to do. So like I said, a Batman game with that implemented would be so cool.
That'd be super cool, man. They kind of, well, I guess they didn't kind of hand it, but there it reminded me of that one. I think it was Arkham City where you're fighting. I almost said Iceman, where you're fighting Mister Freeze, and every time you beat him with something, he would you become impervious to it. Like if you did like a sneak attack on him, you'd be like, "Nope, I've got a camera on the back of my helmet now. You can't beat me."
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it
Yep.
was Arkham City.
Yes. So in Arkham Asylum, because I think you fight him in Asylum also. Maybe not. Maybe only Arkham City. But yeah, when you fight him, he learns like from everything that you do, and so you need to do. I can't remember if it was just New Game Plus or it was the first time you fought him also. But yeah, one of the versions of the fight with him, like if you use the grenade, then he's impervious to explosions, or he reaches through the wall and grabs you. Yeah, like I thought that was really cool because it's like he's learning, which is just weird and neat.
Weird and neat. My next one was one that I miss so very dearly. We only got like a taste of this kind of was destructible environments in games.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it
Oh yeah.
mostly started on like the 360 PS2 era with the Guerrilla games and in the game Black. That was really really fucking sweet. And then I think yeah Battlefield did it. I can't think of any other ones that have
My
done it.
favorite one was Hulk Ultimate Destruction on the Xbox 360.
God
You could
damn.
smash cars, you could
I'm looking
climb
that up right
buildings, you
now.
could take buildings down. Like it was so it was based on the Ed Norton movie. And I think he even provided the voice for it, which was really fascinating. And it was like an original story as well. And it was, yeah, you could run around and literally destroy anything in the
That's
city.
awesome.
It was amazing. It was
Oh
the
my
best Hulk game they
God.
ever made. You can make like the boxing gloves out of car parts. Like it was just,
Oh my god.
it was the best Hulk game ever made. And it, like Wolverine Origins and a few other games, are stuck on the 360 PS3 environment, and we can never play them again. And it's just such a bummer because they were some of the best licensed games because they just tried shit. It was great.
Shout out to Eternal Sonata, still stuck on the 360
Yeah.
PS3.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think immediately of I think Bad Company was Battlefield Bad Company
Yeah.
was
Oh,
one of
yeah.
those
Yeah.
that's a great one. And then Red Faction I
Yes.
think was
Yeah.
another one that had the destructible environments. So yeah, you figured they would be able to do that now that technology's gotten better. But hey, everything being destructible is very resource heavy on a game that some games
Yeah.
already struggle to maintain frame rates. So
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I said the Gorilla games. I meant Red Faction. My bad. I was thinking of Red Faction Gorilla. I think is what I
Yeah.
was.
oh, between
Yeah,
us,
yeah,
we
yeah.
got
Yep.
it. We
Yeah,
arrived
you
at the
got
game.
Yeah. Halfway
Yeah,
there.
I think the only game that's come close in my experience has been Control. And I don't think everything's destructible, but like a lot of it is, especially once you start using telekinesis and levitate. You can like
You throw a
rip
lot of
stuff out
stuff
the
around,
walls and throw stuff. But like, I don't think everything's destructible. Or if it is, like it would take a long time. Like it's not designed for mass destruction. But like the environments definitely are pretty destructible, but not in that like same way where the game is designed for you to smash everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, like when they announced the multiplayer for Crackdown 3, they were like, "You can
Yeah.
destroy fucking anything," and then the game came out, and they were like, "You can't."
No, it was bad game. Such a bummer because I loved Crackdown 2 so much.
Yes.
It was such
Same.
a
Oh,
good
and
game.
The first one was so. I
Yeah.
played so much of that fucking game, so
And
many
like
hours of my life.
me and my friends were so excited for the third one to have multiplayer, and then it just tanked. Yeah. Such a disappointment, that game. It could have been so great. Like all they had to do was get the multiplayer right and make it destructible, and it would have been fine. And they screwed that up. I think for my next one, it's a little meta. So the game mechanic that I miss most is split screen, local co-op.
Oh man,
Like especially
good.
split
That's
screen,
great.
like because like so Borderlands. I think I told this on our Xbox 360 episode, but Borderlands, the original game, I never played with a full screen. Me and my friend Katie played through the entire game split screen, and it was the best. It was so much fun. Like online co-op, I like playing with friends online, especially since a lot of my friends have moved away, and so we're not in the same place. But like, there's something about that split screen. So in my first apartment living on my own, I had I think it was 60-inch tube TV. So it was like
Oh
one of
my
those
God.
massive
A
tube
monster.
TVs, monster tube
Impossible to
TV.
move.
Oh yeah, no, we practically threw it down the stairs to get it out. But when we got it in, the first thing we did was play Halo I think it was Halo 3,
Oh,
split screen
yes.
Oh my
multiplayer,
god,
because then it
dude.
felt like everybody had their own TV because it was so big.
Don't peek on
Uh,
my screen, bro.
Right.
but like I
Don't peek
loved
on my
split screen Mario
Mhm.
Kart, split screen. Like, come on, battle in Mario Kart 64, doing a 4-way battle was the best. Yeah, they just don't do split screen anymore or very often. Like, I don't know if Baldur's Gate 3 has split screen. I know it has. I
It
think it has local
it
co-op.
does, but not on Series S
Oh,
because it's such a
interesting.
little wimp, apparently.
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
remember that.
Yeah.
but like I loved the Lego games. Like you could play
Yep.
multiplayer, and then if you ran in the opposite direction, eventually the game would split, the screen would split, and you could go off wherever. Yeah, I miss split screen so bad.
Ooh.
I think it was such a great way to play multiplayer games together and gave folks their own real estate, so you weren't stuck on the screen together like in the new Sonic Superstars game, which is just bad multiplayer.
Mm,
This Destroy All Humans had a really well,
Yeah,
yeah.
kind of, because it was all I think it was all vertical split screen, so you didn't have a whole lot of like your cone of vision was very limited, but it was still really really fun to just run around with like oh, what are the weapons again? The zappy one, the anal probe, and I forget what any of the other ones were, but yeah, that was such a fun game to co-op through.
Yeah, it was tradition between me and my friends. So we beat all the original, all the Halo 3s, Halo 2. We played Halo 1, Halo 2, and Halo 3 split screen on the hardest difficulties, campaign all the way through and beat them. Legendary. And then we beat all the Gears of War games on 360, hardest difficulty, split screen. Like that was just when one of those games came out, that was just like tradition for us. It was something we did that we're just like, we're going to hunker down. It's going to be a miserable night. We're going to die a lot. We're going to drink and have fun doing it. Like let's just power through. And yeah, not just split screen, but that losing that aspect of playing with people in the room. There's not, aside from Nintendo, not many people are really making
Yeah.
the effort to do anything like that anymore. I mean, Castle Crashers, one of my favorite games of all time. Like
so
that's
great.
a perfect game for that. I know it's not split screen, everyone's on screen at the same time, but the, man, old people rant at how games used to be up here. It's the panel it's turning into.
What's your next pick, Eric? What do you got for us?
Oh, was I next? I'm sorry.
I believe so. No, you're all good.
Um, something that I'm glad is gone, or it's not gone, but I think we can argue about whether it's been gone or we've gotten better at it. But grinding random encounters, especially in RPGs,
Oh,
I feel like
that's a good one. Oh my god.
Yeah.
random encounters aren't gone per se,
But they
but I
suck.
feel like
I fucking hate them.
RPG design and game design has gotten a lot better to the point where the level progression is pretty sticks pretty good with like the story, so you don't have to go out of your way to like just kill crabs on the seashore for like an hour to level up or anything like that. Which back in the day, as I thought about this, I was like, oh, it doesn't really bother me at first. And as I've gone back to play some older RPGs, I'm like, I don't have time for this anymore. My time is at a premium. Back in the day, like I said, Final Fantasy IX was my first RPG, and I remember I would just fight random battles for 8 hours because I thought that was the coolest shit ever. And now it's just like, no, I need it to be a little more to keep progress with the story here, so I don't have to just grind out random mindless battles for hours on end. Like I've recently finished Seven Rebirth, and I feel like Seven Rebirth did a pretty good job of keeping your level pretty consistent with the story without having to like go around and find a bunch of stuff to fight. So I think we've come a long way in that regards. I don't ever want to go back to having to kill things mindlessly for no reason.
Eric, do I have a game for you? I think the game that does all of that the best is Chrono Cross, because holy shit! I mean, Matt's probably already heard me rant about this shit, but
Yes.
like, so Chrono Cross does it like the best way possible. So the uh, you can fight and like just random, and well, I guess there's no random encounters. All the enemies like on the over or all the enemies that you can fight in Chrono Cross, you'll just see on the overfield walking around. You can run into them and fight them if you want to. You can flee from any battle, so you don't need to fight every enemy because you don't gain experience from battles in that game. Um, you'll occasionally get maybe like small increases to HP or attack or whatever, but the biggest, like the most incremental stat boosts and power ups that you get in the game, you get from fighting the bosses, from different like story segments and maybe some like hidden bosses and shit like that. It'll increase what's called your star level, which that's like your star level is kind of like, I don't know. It's Chrono Cross does the best. Play Chrono Cross, everybody. Don't hate it because it's not Chrono Trigger. Please play Chrono Cross, please.
Both those games are on my backlog, so I've played
Yes.
Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross. So
Yeah,
So good.
I'm of two minds of this. I think it depends on the game for me. Like I don't know why, but in Final Fantasy IV, when I played it for the first time last year, I liked running around on the moon grinding. Like it didn't bother me. I think because then also I ended up grinding while watching TV and over leveling and absolutely smiting the boss after it owned me like 4 times in a row. But then like in so it's no secret I love the Yakuza games, the Like a Dragon franchise. But in the first of the two RPGs, you like just hit this wall where everyone's killing you, and you have to just go grind it out at this arena until you get to the right level, and then you can progress. And it just pissed me off because it just halted the story, which is what I'm playing those games for.
Yeah,
And so I think it really depends on how well it's done. And like on the opposite end, as much
that's
as I
true.
love 16, and I did love Final Fantasy 16, the fact that everything leveled up with you meant you never felt powerful. And like by the end of that
That is
game,
true.
Clive is a badass. Like he's so powerful, but you never really feel that powerful because everything's scaling with you. And so I think you need to strike a balance. But like I agree, of all my caveats with Rebirth, the leveling worked pretty well. I mean, I also, since like halfway through the game, played on easy because I wanted to see the story. I like the battle system. It's not my favorite, and so I just wanted to see the story. But even still, the combat is dynamic enough and the game allows you to level up enough that you're not really ever grinding very long. And because of the open world stuff, that adds to it also, right? Because you're going out of your way if you want to do that stuff, and you can get a lot of experience there. I don't mind grinding. I think excessive grinding is what I'm glad is gone, but
that's
all
fair.
the same in Super Mario RPG, like I loved running after every enemy on screen trying to fight everybody.
This is
Like
true.
it was just fun to do it, to eradicate every Goomba on screen.
Eradicate, wipe them out.
And if I
Become
counter my
extinct.
own point here, grinding of that variety has just kind of been replaced by grinding battle passes, right? Like
That's
it's no different if
That's
you're just playing
true.
60 hours to unlock
true.
the last level of the battle pass. So, I mean, they just replace one kind with another. It's
But I mean that's why everybody should just go play Chrono Cross because it does the best. I really
Well,
like Chrono
everybody
Cross.
should go play Chrono Trigger, the better game, and then I guess you can play Chrono Cross. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
Look, I am a publicly
I
notoriously
know you are.
Chrono
Yeah.
Cross hater only because I played it on the PlayStation and it runs poorly on the PlayStation.
Oh, the
And
Switch.
also,
The Switch
I
version
know,
is
so good.
Okay, so
And
play it on the Switch. Okay.
I need to replay it because I need to give it another shot. Because I remember when I beat it and did a new game plus and saw that I lost all my skills, I was like, "What the hell? That was the point." But I think also it had to live up to Chrono Trigger for me, which is still to this day my favorite game of all time, and it
That's
was
fair,
never
yeah.
going to. And so, like, I think I need to reapproach it with more analytical eyes and just be like, "All right, this is not going to be Chrono Trigger. This is something different. Play it and just." I think I'll find love for it that I didn't have before. But like when I heard I was getting a sequel to Chrono Trigger and then I got that, I went, "This isn't Chrono Trigger. What is this?"
It's not my Chrono Trigger.
Exactly, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I think that's where Chrono Cross gets the shaft the most, is that like if people think of it if people didn't think of it as the sequel or follow up to Chrono Trigger, it might have gotten a more fair shot. If it was like if it was just Cross, like anything else Cross, people probably would have probably given it the time of day. But let's how about we take an ad break? Should we take an ad break? Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
That's it.
All right, we'll be right back. This episode of Super Pod Saga was brought to you today by the real MVPs, the real sponsors of the show, the patrons, the official superstars. All of you are just awesome, fabulous, handsome, adorable, cute. I don't know what other words to throw in here, but you're all awesome. Every single one of you. It really means so much to me. It means the world, the galaxy, the cosmos. It's something bigger than the cosmos. I don't think there is anything bigger, but If there was, I would love you all that much. I'm stretching my arms out like this right now. So yeah, let's thank the patrons. A Novel Console, Jared Schrader, Jameson Empire, Adam Phineas, Trey, Adam Forrester, Jeff Miners, Jenny E, Kevin Demo, Thrak, and Mr. Kwong. All of you are your official superstars. You guys are the best. If I could meet every single one of you in person and give you a gigantic hug, a high five, and buy you a sandwich or something, I absolutely would, because god damn it, I love every single last one of you. Thank you, patrons, for sponsoring this episode and every single episode to come of Super Pod Saga. Thank you a lot. I mean it. Thank you so much. If you're a fan of coffee and you're looking for something different, I think we've got just the thing for you. That's Bones Coffee. Bones Coffee is not your usual coffee company. Of course, it's all sugar-free, gluten-free, all that stuff, because it's just coffee, nothing added to it. But they roast each batch of coffee beans to your order, and they've got just a bazillion different flavors to choose from. They've got your usual French vanilla, salted caramel, they've got Irish cream, of course they've got decaf, single origin coffees like Kenya, Guatemala, stuff like that, even what they call high voltage, which is extra strength, extra caffeine, but they have all sorts of other awesome kind of out of the box flavors. They've got ones like cotton candy, maple bacon, and even mint chocolate chip ice cream. And they're always coming up with new crossover flavors, like they've done a bunch for Nightmare Before Christmas, Indiana Jones, even Spider-Man, of all things. And they're also coming up with new seasonal flavors all the time. If this sounds right up your alley, feel free to use the link in our episode description and use coupon code SUPERPODSAGA at checkout to get 20% off your order. That's SUPERPODSAGA at checkout to get 20% off your order. And if you're not just in the market for coffee, you can also get some sweet mugs. They've got lots of cool shirts. They've got all sorts of different brewing equipment like French presses, stuff like that. Just head on over to bonescoffee.com, or again, use the link in our episode description and get 20% off. Get yourself a new interesting flavor and spice up your morning routine with Bones Coffee. I really hope you enjoy. I'm a really big fan of it, and I hope you find one that really hooks you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Eric, Matt, how do you feel about spaghetti? Do y'all like spaghetti? The spaghetti guy?
I mean, as long as I can find a good gluten-free version of it, I don't mind spaghetti. Yeah, I like spaghetti.
My wife and I make it a couple times a month, so yeah.
that's good. Hey, this episode is sponsored by Leo's Spaghetti Bar and Spaghetti Grill. Hey, Leo's, they're we all know and love spaghetti. It's great, noodly, saucy, messy, sassy spaghetti. We'll say sassy. Leo's does it better. They do it one step better. Leo's uses spaghetti for everything. They repurpose it. That's how Leo's does it the best. That's how they stay in business. Yeah, of course you can order spaghetti there, but what if I were to tell you could order a spaghetti burger? They'll mash it and condense it into a puck, like a burger patty like shape, toss it on the grill. Still kind of like coldish in the middle, but hey, it's spaghetti burger. Throw it on a bun, whatever, ketchup, all that.
I always thought that the spaghetti pizza was a weird choice. Like the crust is made of spaghetti, and then also the cheese is made of spaghetti. With tomato sauce in between. It's a weird choice. They could have used actual cheese instead of spaghetti, cheese made out of spaghetti, but it's an interesting flavor profile.
When I'm on the go, I like to go for the spaghetti kebab myself. Just grab one and grab it and go.
Yeah.
Got to make sure to get that shredded spaghetti on top too. They'll again, condensed spaghetti, shred it up, and then you can sprinkle it on whatever you're eating there down at Leo's. It's fantastic. Hey, and of course you got to wash it down with one of their finest cocktails, the spaghettini, the spaghetterita, the Italian mule, which is like a spaghetti mule. What is it? I'm trying to do like a cosmopolitan, but spaghetti. But I just can't.
Spaghettipolitan.
Spaghettipolitan. Ooh, okay, spaghettipolitan. That's
there.
good. That's good. Yeah, they just see them fill it up, a fucking glass with ice, and then spaghetti, and then they're shaking it, cocktail shaker, all that stuff. Then it's just,
I'm a big fan of their spaghetti car bomb. You get a little shot of marinara sauce, you put it in there, drop it in, take
some spaghetti, like some boiled spaghetti water as well too, and you're just pouring spaghetti onto your face.
Oh man!
Make sure, always make sure you do not wear white to Leo's Spaghetti Bar and Spaghetti Grill. Do not, because that sauce it's very caustic. It will stain your light colored clothing.
They actually put iron filings in it, so it's magnetically charged to your shirt. It's very weird. I broke Aaron. That's a new accomplishment.
Throw me over with that. What the fuck?
I'll take it.
Just shaving like a magnet into it too.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That would kill everyone immediately.
Thanks, Leo Spaghetti Bar and Spaghetti Grill, for sponsoring this episode. Oh, we're back. We're so back.
So back.
I barely made it back after the fucking magnet.
It's supposed to be separate. Sorry, I don't know. I got nothing. Whose turn is it? I've lost count.
I think it's mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
because Eric was talking about what was it?
Random encounters.
Yes.
Random encounters, right?
Yeah.
That's right. I got so entranced about Chrono Cross. God damn it. This kind of counts as a mechanic. I miss cool secret unlockable characters. I miss that shit. We talked earlier about the Tony Hawk games having some of the coolest shit ever. Yeah, like Wolverine, Spider-Man, heck, Shrek. What? Why not, man? They had little I can't do it with this hand because it's all messed up. But they had the finger guy that would
Yeah.
he would.
Yeah, it was
ride a
like your
skateboard
hand
like
on a
yeah.
skateboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hidden characters are the best. Fighting games had some of the best ones too.
Yes,
especially the really obscure ones, like some weird polygonal boss in Virtual Fighter who was just a bunch of colored shapes that you'd unlock at the end or whatever. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Or the little dino dude gone in I think it's Tekken 1 or 2. He was really cool.
And then there's like Kuma the bear in the Tekken games too.
There's literally a kangaroo.
Yeah, dude, Jack. I forget what his name was.
No. Yeah, I don't remember the name, but yeah, or even like beat 'em ups too. Like we were talking about Castle Crashers earlier. You could unlock like every basic enemy as a playable character. You can unlock some of the bosses as playable characters. That was awesome. I loved getting a new character in that game and then just running through the whole game again as that character because they all had like different abilities and like twists on the magic spells and stuff.
So good. Or like the hundreds of different characters you can unlock in like Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah.
Of course, Smash Bros. Still kind of has it because like you can kind of cheat. You can just cheat your way to getting every character in Smash Bros. Ultimate. So like it kind of doesn't count.
Yeah, but like in the original Smash Brothers or even the GameCube one, Melee, like when you would get that like challenger approaches and like the siren plays and you have to fight them to unlock them. It was the best.
It'd be like, oh my god, can I even beat this guy? And you'd hand it to your older brother who was the house pro at Smash Bros. Like, please, big bro, I want you to unlock Mewtwo.
I think of Akuma from the Street Fighter series too. He was a big one as well. So
ooh, that's good.
I seem to remember, didn't one of the licensed Tobey Maguire Spider-Man games let you play as Green Goblin? You could like unlock and like fly around as Green Goblin. I remember that. That was super rad.
Yeah, I think that was in the first movie game. And
Yeah.
then in the sequel game, like I think you could unlock different costumes. And then like the new Spider-Man games, like that's my favorite thing about well, it's not my favorite thing. I like the new Spider-Man games for a load of reasons, but like all of the unlockable costumes in Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2 are all awesome. And like so many
Yeah.
deep cuts and custom costumes that Insomniac came up with like help of comic book artists. Like I love all that stuff. That was great.
Yeah.
My next one is still a little meta again. I do not miss the world's obsession with motion controls. Now, I'll admit that the
Mm.
Wii had some cool stuff, and like the fact that we dropped the ball on getting a good lightsaber game on the Wii still muggles my mind because none of those games really utilized the Wii controller like a real, like feeling like you're using a lightsaber. But yeah, I don't want to play video games to relax. I don't want to run around my room with the Kinect or the Move or the like. And look, I liked the Wii a lot actually. I loved Wii Sports. There were so many games I really loved, but every time they allowed me to turn the controller sideways or use the classic controller, I was very happy because I hated like look in Spider-Man 3, which admittedly was not a great movie-based game on the Wii, but allowing you to like flick the Wiimote and the nunchuck to swing was really cool for the first 10 minutes. And then it got very tiring very fast. Just constantly flicking your arms. It's just, I understand why motion controls were such a hit. I understand. I wouldn't, and like the Switch still sort of uses them. Like you can use it in some of the games, you know, using the Joy Cons. But like I'm glad that it's like a secondary feature now and not the primary focus of every game because it was just, I think it was too gimmicky. I liked what the best games did it really well, but the majority of games did it either mediocrely or very badly. And so I'm just glad we've kind of moved past that.
And shout out to the games that like did have motion controls, but also gave the option to use just regular input on like a
Yep.
controller, like Arms. Shout out to Arms because it fucking
Yep.
rules, and you can just use A and B to punch, baby, or the triggers actually too. That was the best way to play it.
Yeah,
Shout out to Arms.
I think that's what originally kept me away from like Mario Galaxy and like Skyward Sword too. Is I was just like, I just don't want to have to like waggle my controller to make Mario spin, or I don't want to have to like use the nunchuck and the Wiimote for like Link's Sword and Shield. Like I just want to play it regularly. And I don't know if that was included regularly there, but I know that the re-releases on the Switch, you can just play those like with regular controller now. So did finally go back and play Mario Galaxy. Still probably need to go back and check out Skyward Sword.
Yeah, the
Same.
Skyward Sword port is okay. I the way they remap the controls work pretty well. I got further than I did the first time I played it on the Wii, but I still haven't beaten it. I still stopped like halfway through. I'll get through it eventually.
Right on.
Okay, kind of obscure one that I came across while I was doing some research, and this harkens back to the N64 days. If you remember a little game called Perfect Dark,
Yeah.
successor to GoldenEye 007. I don't think Perfect Dark was as acclaimed as GoldenEye, but I still remember it being a lot of fun. Perfect Dark had a game mode called Counter Operative mode, where you could play the game split screen, and your one character would be Joanna Dark playing through the level, and then the other character would be spawned as a random NPC, and then you try to kill the character coming through. And I just thought that was such like a cool concept that like doesn't get used a lot in games anymore. Is like a cool way to like play through the campaign is like, oh, you have one character playing the protagonist, and then your friend can just be the endlessly spawning like enemies in the map to like try and stop you. I think we've articulated on this idea a little bit with like how we've had like these 1v4 games like Evolve, which is now shut down, or Dead by Daylight or stuff like that, kind of like a iteration on that idea. But I was just reading about it, and I watched a little bit of gameplay, and I was like, oh, like this is pretty cool. Like I wish somebody would like still do something like that. But I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the death of like couch co-op split screen too, because like that experience seems like it would lend itself to like a couch co-op split screen experience. Although I think one modern example I did think of that was I know Deathloop, when it came out, let an online player invade your game as like the assassin. So I don't know. I just came across it, and I thought it was like a kind of a cool concept. Be like, hey, have your buddy be the guy that tries to kill you, or like I was just thinking of like, oh, Halo. Like if my friend was like the elites like trying to kill me, and I was Master Chief, like that could be pretty cool, or something like that. I don't know.
One of my favorite zombie shooters of all time let you do that. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 Like
They
the
did do that. That's
people
right.
could
So
be either
good.
the survivors or the specialty monsters. So not the regular zombies, but like I forget what they were
The
called, but
boomers and
yeah,
Yeah, and the
boomer,
wit.
the
Yeah.
witch, and it was so much fun to do that. Yeah, I love that idea of like doing verses, but not just straight up like soldier versus soldier, which I mean can be fun as well. I love those competitive shooter environments, but when it's like one versus many, we had a custom version of that in GoldenEye. I talk about this on Flashback 64 recently, where one player was the Terminator, because you can turn the health all the way up like past 100 to like
Oh yeah.
200%. And so one person would be the Terminator with 200% health, and the rest of the three of us would have like rocket launchers and try to kill them. They were the
That's
enemy, and we would
amazing.
team up together. And so like we
That's
made our own
awesome.
custom game based on that. But yeah, I love being able to do that kind of stuff, especially when you're some kind of like special infected or like special enemy. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm really, really glad is gone is so you remember in old Pokemon games, specifically like I think it was mostly with third gen, there were certain Pokemon that you could only get from going to like certain events in New York and shit and
Hmm.
getting a pass for
Mm.
something. Like so in Ruby, it's Sapphire, and I forget if it's also an Emerald or not. There Jirachi you could only get from going to this special place. I'm pretty sure it was in New York or something, and you had to get this SSN ticket. And with that ticket, I forget how you applied it to the game, but yeah, all this like cool shit that normal like rural ass Iowa Aaron could not get. Like I had to have like a Game Shark to get that. Like I can't go to fucking New York and get any of this cool shit. Like no one's gonna trade. No one that I know in my fucking immediate area is gonna be able to trade me any of this cool stuff. So yeah, I missed out on all of that. I don't recall them doing that for like the gens after that, because after that, you had Wi-Fi and stuff like that you could use. But yeah, I'm glad they don't do that shit anymore. They kind of did with like newer ones where you would go to GameStop and get a card for like a certain Pokemon, and you punch in the code on your game and you could get the Pokemon then and there. But you could get like multiples of those cards and redeem them and then trade them to people. So they were just all over the goddamn place. Literally did not matter. But back in the day, that's the only way you could do it. Also, Game Shark, miss Game Shark so much, and Action Replay.
Yeah, I love Game Shark. I love that most modern emulators that I only use for 24 hours and delete, because that way it stays legal.
Yeah.
Every emulator, I never keep a ROM more than 24 hours. But I love on the classic emulators now that Game Genie's just included. Like, I want to play Earthbound, and I'm sure that it's a lot of fun to not use Game Genie and experience the combat system. It's pretty dynamic, but I hear it gets really hard. And I'm playing Earthbound for the same reason I played the game that it inspired Undertale. It's for the story. Combat, I'm sure, is great, but like I want to play the story, and so I'm currently doing a PC playthrough of Earthbound with Game Genie and unlimited health, because I want to see the story. I'm sure the combat's really cool, and it is really cool, especially for an RPG of that era. But I love being able to use, like, also, I don't know anybody, maybe now, but when I was growing up, who could beat Contra without Game Genie? Like, Contra
Yeah,
was hard,
that
one hit
shit's
deaths.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and so I love Contra 3 Alien Wars, probably the best Contra game ever made on the Super Nintendo, but I always used Game Genie for that. So I could just have unlimited lives and just plow through that game, because the fun part is not surviving. It's all the cool weapons and killing aliens.
It is.
Let's see, what was, I had one for my last one and then it fell out of my head. I mean, there's so many things, like little things here and there. I mean, I miss peripherals. That sounds crazy, but I
Yeah,
feel
like
like modern gaming doesn't really have peripherals. Like, look, for as much as I hated waggle controls, I loved like the Guitar Hero, Rock Band, DJ
Oh, rest in
Hero,
peace.
all of them. Like, so for those who have only followed me within the last few years, during the pandemic, I was obsessed with the game Fuser, which was Harmonix's last game before they got acquired, which was like a build on the idea of DJ Hero and this board game they made called Drop Mix, where you could pick parts of songs and make new songs, and it was essentially a DJ game without a peripheral. I became obsessed with it. I was a featured streamer for it for a while. It was a lot of fun, but like, I miss playing Rock Band. When I had Rock Band, when that game first came out, I bought 2 sets so I could have, and gifted a
Damn.
friend a drum set. And I could have two guitars, multiple mics. Like whenever I had a mic stand. Like whenever we played with friends, we would all play as a band together. Like it was the best. And like I miss those days. And even like the crazy peripherals on the Wii were a lot of fun, like the tennis racket and the Wii wheel, and like or
the
even
link bow.
the link
That
bow.
fucking stupid thing.
Or like light guns. I miss light guns. They
Yeah.
must still make them, but like Time Crisis on PS2 was the best. I loved that. And they just don't, the Duck Hunt light gun, of course, like they don't make those anymore like they used to. They still make peripherals for consoles and stuff, racing wheels, flight sticks, but like that's kind of
Adventure.
it. Ring Fit Adventure.
It's all rings, damn it.
I you know what? I bought Ring Fit Adventure and it was a lot of fun. And like having the peripheral was like it worked really well. It was fun to have. Like I don't know. I like that kind of gimmicky stuff sometimes. If it's really well thought out, like all of the Rock Band and Guitar Hero games were, like they were worth it. And like we don't really do that anymore. And I get why. It's a lot of plastic. It's wasteful. They don't resell well. They're very limited in their use. But like I miss that era of like the PS2 to 360 because like it was just everywhere. Everything had peripherals.
Oh my god! Shout out to that one on the Xbox, that like one Mech Warrior, I think it was. It had,
it was it wasn't
Steel
Mech
Battalion?
Warrior, Steel Battalion, where
And
you
that
had literally a
big fucking-
cockpit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! And there was. I'm gonna look that up real fast.
Yeah. If you are listening and you've never seen the Steel Battalion controller, I think this was for the original Xbox, right?
Yep.
Look it up. It's literally like a mech cockpit that you could control. It was the coolest thing. And then they made a sequel that bombed immediately.
Oh my god, that's rad.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's got
that's so
three
cool.
pedals. It's got like the fucking the like the little.
You can't
lever.
convince me they didn't take that out of an actual military vehicle.
Right?
Oh
Just
my
let you
gosh.
have it.
I
That's
would
insane.
give anything to give that a whirl, but I'm sure from what I can see, it's really fucking expensive.
Here's the question though: has anybody beaten Dark Souls with it? Because all the peripherals that exist, like Guitar Hero controllers, people have beat Souls games with. So
Guess I'm gonna have to do it.
they still have their uses.
This task falls upon my shoulders. I'm gonna spend
We haven't heard-
$250 on this piece of shit.
We haven't heard from Aaron in like 3 months. He's trying to beat all the Souls games with the Steel Battalion controller. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
I've programmed a little like doop-de-doo lever to launch my spells. And,
It's a technical term, the doop-de-doo lever.
Yeah.
oh man, I hope that becomes a thing. That's so cool.
I mean, look, or like the Donkey Kong bongos.
Bongos,
yeah.
yeah.
Like there have been games done quick runs of people beating stuff with those. Like I like stupid peripherals. They're fun, and like it's an extension of the imagination that we are using to play these games, right? And we just don't get a lot of that anymore. And I'm sure they're still, like I said, they're still out there, but it's just not like I feel like in that era that I mentioned, like they were everywhere. They were rampant. Mad Cats was making knockoffs of everything, like, and it just
Shout out to Mad Cats.
that just doesn't exist anymore.
Shout out to Mad Cats.
Oh
my god. Yeah, Mad Cats was going insane with all those knockoff controllers. I mean, they did make some pretty sweet knockoff controllers though. Like they were all translucent. They were this probably doesn't no, it's not a game mechanic, but one thing that's been abandoned that really needs to come back is the translucent like controllers and consoles and shit like that. That needs to come back like yesterday. Like I demand
Purple
it.
Game Boy Color.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, like a purple translucent Switch, or like make my cell phone translucent green or something. I don't know. I just miss it so much. It's so cool. Like I've got my earbud case is like translucent green. You can't see it because my webcam sucks. But yeah. Miss it. And
Oh man,
it's your turn, sir.
that's me.
You got one last one for us?
Actually, no. I pretty much went. Everything that else I had was mentioned during the community input. So yeah, I think I'm good. Oh, I did shout out. I wrote down initially Mega Evolutions from Pokemon because they took those away, but those are coming back now. So that's kind of a moot point. It's an abandoned game mechanic.
Yeah, that's true. I do love Mega Evolutions. They were pretty dope.
They were one of the most popular like gimmicky things that ever did, and ever since then, the community doesn't really seem to have liked like Dynamaxing or Terrestrializing or all that other stuff. But it's coming back in the new Legends game, so that's pretty cool.
Like after that, like after Gen 6, they were like, "Hey, Z moves, right?"
Yeah, Z
And Z
moves.
moves were fucking stupid. It's like, why would I do that when I could have a mega Aerodactyl? Like, that's
Right.
stupid. You're stupid.
And that was a cool concept because it gave a lease on life to a lot of Pokemon that like weren't viable in, like
Yes.
especially in the competitive
Yeah.
scene,
Yeah.
which was really cool. And then some of them that like Charizard didn't need to, like Mewtwo didn't need to. Like
Yeah.
why are you glazing the already popular ones? Like come on now. But yeah, that is coming back. It looks like in the new Legends game, which isn't, I guess it's not a canonical generation entry. So in
No,
that,
but it is like building. It's a weird timey-wimey thing, I think, like the last Legends game was. And like
exactly.
the Nightmare Fuel that was Gengar's Mega Evolution is one of my favorites. Like he just like
Yes.
the weird like monster coming out of the ground thing. Oh,
Yep.
so cool.
Mega Gengar is so
I
cool.
love Ampharos with the flowing Super Saiyan 3 hair.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So good.
I love
So good.
Mega Aerodactyl is for sure still my favorite. He went
Yeah,
from just
very
being
gnarly.
pterodactyl
Yeah.
to just like pterodactyl with rocks coming out of him. It's just like,
So
I'm in
good.
constant pain. Shout out to this maybe kind of doesn't count, I don't know, but like um arcade games, like, you pop quarters into them all the time. You lose like hundreds of bucks on arcade games popping in quarters. I like arcade games like now where I can just pop it onto my Anbernic, or like get the arcade archive stuff on Switch or something like that, and just hit the select button to virtually pop in a quarter and play arcade games
Yup.
that way. That's cool. I don't want
That's how
to.
I beat Metal Slug.
Oh hell
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, in the Metal Slug
Nice.
collection. Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to spend fucking $50 trying to beat Metal Slug. I want to pay $5 for the game and beat it.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Yeah, that's my last 2 cents that I have. My tank is on E.
Same here.
Yeah. I don't think I can think of any. I think that's it. I guess there's one. It's a genre of game more, but it's a kind of mechanic. Was like the FMV games, and we're seeing some of them now.
Oh yeah.
But
Yep.
Immortality, which I still haven't played. But before that, like Night Trap and Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, which did come back. But like those weird FMV games, I love those. Sewer Shark, man, Sewer Shark. Nobody's
Sewer
played that
Shark.
game. One of the worst Sega CD games ever, but I loved it.
Really, really cool name though. Sewer.
Yeah,
FMV in general, man.
I wish that was my Discord name.
Sewer Shark.
Yeah.
It could be. You could change it.
You can be whatever you want on Discord.
It's true. You could be anyone.
That's true. That's true. There's a shout out to shout out to Christopher for What the Fuck Do You Want? Because like for a while there, he
Yeah.
was like an exact clone of me in my Discord server. And that was fun.
That was confusing. If you mean by fun it was confusing, then yes.
Now he's Blathers 2.0, and that's fun because there's in my server I have a Blathers bot who's really, really
Yeah.
sassy and mean, and
Yeah.
Christopher cloned him as well too. But that's it. That's the show. Hey, that's the episode, everybody. Matt, one more time for the listeners. Go ahead and plug your show and shows and anything else you want to share with the listeners.
Sure. I'll keep it brief. You can go to djstormageddon.com and you can find a link to my merch store. I have some cool mugs and t-shirts we're checking out, tote bags. You can find the Patreon for fun and games. There's a free tier. So if you want to just join to check it out and then maybe contribute a couple dollars, get a shout out, some bonus pods, stuff like that. And then it also has links to all the other shows that I do. It has links to all of my socials. I'm DJ_Stormageddon across most platforms except Blue Sky, where I'm just DJ Stormageddon because they don't like underscores for some reason. And yeah, if you find me on the internet through this, say hi and let me know.
Nice. And Eric, where can people find your show? Well, I guess, share. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, go ahead and for listeners one more time, tell them all about your show, where they can find it, and anything else you want to share with them.
Yeah, so like I said at the top, I host the Unlockables, and you can go to all my information is at which apparently this isn't cool anymore to have a link tree, but I have a link tree. It's at linktr.ee/Unlockables podcasts. You can find all my stuff there. My personal Twitter, or I guess it's X now, but whatever. The Unlockables Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Join our Discord server, which is a little bit smaller. I haven't had time to nurture it as much because I've been nurturing a child, but I'm also in pretty much everyone else's Discord servers with everybody else, so you can find me there. I've also started dabbling with YouTube videos. I released my first YouTube video on Ocarina of Time last month, which I put a lot of work into, and it was a new medium for me to learn, so it was a lot of fun. So going over to youtube.com/the Unlockables and check that out and subscribe. I'm going to be putting up more videos on different stuff, hopefully later this year. I think I will be on a brief hiatus over summer as I get more content and stuff ready and kind of figure out my content life balance with a kid. But I'll probably be back late summer, early fall with a bunch of new stuff that I'm planning. So got a lot of fun stuff in the works.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Check. Everybody, if you're listening to this right now, go check out all of Eric's stuff. Go check out all of Matt's stuff. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening. Make sure to tip your waitress. Support the show on Patreon, $4 a month. Just search for superpodsaga.com or search for Superpod Saga on Patreon. You'll find it, I promise. Leave a rating, review, all that stuff. Let's say bye to the listeners.
Bye, listeners.
Bye, listeners.
Okay, goodbye.